This month so far, we talked about protecting the spirit, protecting the mind, and protecting the heart. And so what step 6 is this. It says, we are entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. The verse that goes with that, humble yourself before the Lord, and he will lift you up. So we can look at this, protecting your spirit, protecting your mind, protecting your body. If we come before God humbly and say, hey, I've got these defects, I need help getting rid of them, right? That's when we can start learning to protect ourselves, putting on the armor of God that Kayla talked about, yes? And move on from there and learn to better equip ourselves. Now at this point, we've put in a lot of work so far, right? If you have ever done the 12 steps or are going through it, when you get to this point, I need you to keep in mind, you cannot lose focus at this point, okay? This is not I'm over the hump, hey, I'm in the clear. This is still work, okay? Step 4 was hard, yes. Y'all got to step 5, right? Now you're in step 6. Now it's working on yourselves. Yes, step 4 and 5 is working on yourself, but this is where you're like, hey, God, I'm fully ready for this, right? And so tonight, there's an acrostic I want us to look at. The acrostic is victory. And the only way we're going to be able to step into our recovery and step into that victory, the only way to do that is Jesus Christ. Amen? Amen. So I want to look at victory. I want to unpack it a little bit. So the V in victory stands for this. It says voluntarily submit to change. I don't know about you guys. When I first got into recovery, I did not want to change. It was not a choice of mine. I had about 6 months clean the first time I got clean. But it wasn't a choice I made. It was people around me making the choice for me. I had no desire to get clean. I wanted to continue to do what I was doing. I was content. I was happy, right? Or so I thought. But when I stepped into my recovery now, here I am 9 years later, right? But I was ready 9 years ago. I went to the people in my life and I said, hey, I want help. Not only do I want, I need it, right? It was a want and a need. I knew that's where I was going. The next thing in victory is identify your defects of character. So I identified that, hey, I had a problem. I had an issue, right? I needed help. I ended up going to Las Vegas, Nevada, of all places, to get recovery. And not only there, I felt after 2 weeks of being there, I felt like, hey, are you done? Getting that tug again. Because, guys, I got saved at 13. I have no doubt in my mind. Saved and baptized when I was 13. No doubt in my mind I was saved at 13, okay? But I walked away from my faith at 16 because I was immature and I wasn't being mentored. I wasn't seeking after God. It just wasn't a thing for me. I was around church people, and early on in your Christianity, if you don't have someone to disciple you, to mentor you, to help you out, the devil is going to come in and do those little lies to you, right? And that's exactly what he did. I couldn't identify what was going on, but there was people in my life not pouring into me when I thought I needed them the most. And I was like, if that's what Christianity is, I want nothing to do with it. And so guys, I stopped doing anything. Now I graduated from a Christian high school. So I still had a background and a foundation in the Bible, which helped me when I got to rehab, find my connection back. And then whenever I got back, my best friend from high school, he and his wife, God bless them, took me in. I got back on a Monday. On a Wednesday, he had me back in church, in a small group. We went to another guy's house. We were playing spades till 4 o'clock in the morning, just talking about recovery, talking about God, talking about life, just in it. It was the best thing I could ever experience sober. I didn't know I could have that much fun sober. It had been so long, okay? But I had to identify that myself. The next thing we need to do, we have to change our mind. Change your mind. And everybody could probably just tense up when you hear the word change, right? I know at least I do. I don't love change. Anybody else not love change? Yeah. Here's the thing. It's not that we don't love change. It's how change is presented to us, right? Because here's the thing. We weren't born into this drug addiction life, right? And I use drugs. You can use whatever. Drugs is just what I was on, okay? So you're going to hear me talk about drugs a lot because that's what I did. But I wasn't born into that, right? I went almost 20 years with not doing drugs, vaguely knowing what they are, but not doing anything, right? It wasn't until I was 20 that I stepped into that life. I changed when I was 20, and it wasn't a change, right? It was a gradual change. It wasn't a everyday thing when I first started doing it. It was a weekend thing. Well, a weekend thing became an extended weekend thing. I needed a 4-day weekend. Anybody else feel that? A 4-day weekend just wasn't enough. I needed a 5-day weekend. And then a 6-day weekend. I was like, I'll not do drugs one day and everything will be fine. It wasn't the case. Guys, it was a slow change. So that's what recovery is going to be. It's going to be a slow change, right? Now, you could wake up like Pastor Chris did after an overdose and wake up and say, God, I'm yours, I'm done. And it could be completely taken away from you, right? Man's got over 40 years. Never once went to a rehab, never once went to a recovery meeting. But that doesn't make him any better than what we're doing, okay? That just means he was instantly changed and got into church and dove straight into what the Word had and believed every single bit of it. Believed every single bit of it. The next thing, we have to turn those character defects over. We have to turn those character defects over. We can't just identify them and then hold them and be like, I don't know what to do with them, but I'm just going to keep holding all this baggage, holding all this chain, I'm just going to keep holding it. That's not what we're meant to do. You got to turn that over to God, right? You got to say, hey, it's yours. You can't say, hey, it's yours, and then walk away and be like, but this. I'm going to hold on to this. God's got a plan for your life. He's got a purpose for your life. Let him have it. Let him have it. Step into that. And I know that's scary, guys. Okay, I never thought in a million years that I would be working for a church again. And then not only that, I never thought in a million years I would be on stage talking to a group of people. It just wasn't a thing for me, okay? This is not a passion for me. I don't love this, but God's called me to this. I have a purpose and a plan. He's using me, and I have to step into that. Now, do I always do that? Absolutely not. There's times where he tells me to do something, and I'm like, Go talk to that person. Go serve in this area. Okay, but listen, the reason I'm on stage is because I was obedient. And again, not always, but I would tell you, my first year of recovery, 6 months into it, he told me to go greet at the front door here. I said, He said, you're going to go greet at the front door. I'm like a 2-year-old talking to his dad. Not doing it. He's like, you're going to. I'm like, guys, I greeted at the front door. And it went 3 months that I was talking to him. I'm like, hey, it'd be great if the resource center, when we had a resource center, would be open for people that come on Monday so they can get their stuff. Because I didn't come here on the weekends when I first started coming. Okay, I needed books and things like that were in the resource center I couldn't get to. They're like, okay, why don't you run it? I'm like, I'm like, y'all crazy. I'm 9 months clean. Y'all gonna put me around money. Y'all ain't gonna know $40 missing. I'm just saying. I could just give stuff away and be like, that's $50. That's when people still were using cash. Everything's card now. Wouldn't work. But I didn't. I stepped into that obedience. I said, okay, God, clearly you have a plan and a purpose. God, after I went through the 12 steps, I was leading the 12 steps. After that, I stepped into a leadership role on Monday nights. And then I stepped into the pastor role, but the first time I stepped into that, they said, "You're not ready." I said, "Okay." How do we fix that? Because God told me to do it. I'm just saying. They're like, "We'll train you." Stepped into it, guys. Stepped into it. It's just about obedience. Just about obedience. Turn those character defects over. And again, I'm not perfect at it. I still have some right now that I'm just like, these are mine. Rock a bop. The next thing we got to do, we got to remember, it is one day at a time. And if that's too much, it is 1 minute at a time. 1 hour at a time. Guys, it just doesn't happen overnight. It's okay. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be like, hey, I did great for a week. I did great for a month, and now I'm struggling. What happened? Nothing. The enemy's just attacking you because you're on the brink of greatness. I was just sharing a story when I quit dipping. It was 6 years ago this month I quit dipping. And I'm telling you right now, that was harder than getting off drugs. I did it on a Monday. I threw my can away. I remember it vividly. I was sitting here, 180 people in the room, and I said, if you guys got a heart habit or hang up, let's get rid of it tonight. And I threw my can, and it was slow motion, guys. I'm like, no. In the trash can. That next day, my mom calls me. Hey, Dad's going to the hospital. I don't know what's wrong with him. I'm like, well, crap. I had just walked in to the apartment to see Megan and the boys at the time. Get the phone call. I'm like, and I just got off work, guys. Okay, I was washing cars. So 8 hours washing cars. Just walked in. The only thing you want to do after work is just sit down and relax for a minute. All right, I'll be right there. Driving from Oak Ridge to Park West. You know how many gas stations there are from Oak Ridge to Park West? There's like 40, guys. Okay? 40 gas stations. I wanted to stop at every single one of them and get a dip. Okay? No one would have known. But instead, I called Megan and said, hey, I need you to stay on the phone with me until I get there. I set up ways that I couldn't go and get dip. I would call her after work. Hey, do you need anything from the store? Yes. Cool. I'm going to need you to stay on the phone. Because if you get off the phone, I'm going to get a dip. And you're not going to know. But if you stay on the phone with me, I can't say, hey, I need Copenhagen right now. Okay? So set up those obstacles. Remember, it's one day at a time. The next thing, recovery is a process. It's a process, guys. I'm sitting on stage 9 years later, and I'm telling you, I don't have it all together. I still have hurts, habits, and hang-ups that just pop up out of nowhere that I need help with. I was just telling my team, I'm like, dude, I got something going on in my life right now, and I just can't figure it out. Like, I need to go talk to a therapist. I just need to go talk to a therapist. I can talk to them, but like I need professional help. There's a lot going on up here. Okay, a couple of screws loose. I'll never forget, I was taking my son, which is crazy, I know, I take him, not me. But anyways, another story. But I was sitting there, and the guy looked at me, and I had a Faith Promise shirt on. He goes, do you believe in this? I'm like, okay, I'm not ready for this conversation. Do I believe in what? He goes, the whole therapy thing. I'm like, oh, that's easy. Yeah. He goes, even as a Christian, you believe in therapy? I said, 100%. I'm like, if everybody was raw and real with themselves, they would go to therapy, right? If everybody was raw and real with themselves, they'd be here on Monday night. Because you guys know we're messed up. You guys know it's okay not to be okay. You guys are freely, hey, I'm not okay, but that's okay. That's why we come on Monday night. If everybody on Sunday would do that, man, it'd be a different vibe around this place, right? Fake people. They're out there, okay? I get it. It's fine. They got to work through their issues just like us, right? They got hurts, having hang-ups too. It's one of my favorite things to do. We have an experience here on Sunday. It's called Next Steps. I'm like, hey, if you got a hurt, habit, or hang-up, go ahead and raise your hand. We'd love to have you on Monday night. There's like 3 people that raise their hand. I'm like, All right, so these are my group leaders. Everybody that raised their hand, everybody else that didn't, y'all could be in a group because clearly you guys are in denial. Okay? All right. The next thing, you have to be the one to choose it. This is an important point because here's the thing. If you don't do it for you, more than likely it's not going to stick. I'm not going to say never, right? There's always hope for the impossible. But I'm telling you right now, it is way harder to do if you yourself don't choose it. At least that's my experience. Okay? I had to choose it. I had to. So this is victory, guys. This is victory. Identifying your defects, turning them over, realizing that it is one day at a time. Realizing that it is a process and that you need to choose it. You need to choose change. So what happens when we voluntarily submit to change? We can start living out our purpose. We can start living out our purpose. What is our purpose? Paul says in Romans 12:1, therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. That's our purpose, guys. To worship God. The one who pulled us out of the darkness. The one who died for our sins. The one who said you are worthy of this. You are worthy to be called son, daughter, loved, chosen. You are worthy of this. The least that we could do is offer up ourselves as a living sacrifice for him and give people what we were given, which was hope. I don't know about you guys. I don't know where I would be today without that. I don't know where I would be today without hope. The next thing, you got to change your mind. I told you I'm going to beat this, but it's super important. Guys, if we don't make the change, if we don't choose that change, it's going to be hard for anything to happen. If you guys have been coming for any length of time, you know small changes make big changes. And if you don't believe that, man, I encourage you. I challenge you. Keep coming. If not here, another recovery on Tuesday or Wednesday, on Thursday, Saturday, whatever, whenever. But I challenge you, keep going to that for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and see if you don't see a change in your life. Because I'm telling you, there's going to be one. And here's the thing. Just coming to eat into a service, that's not the change I'm talking about. You got to get connected into a small group. Okay? As much as I love this is not where the change is going to happen. The change is going to happen when you get in a smaller group and you're talking to a group of men or you're talking to a group of ladies and you're like, I just, this. And they're like, I know. They can relate to you. They can love on you. They've been there, right? That's where the change is going to happen. You've got to get connected into a group. It's just so important. So we have to change our mind. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says this, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, a new creation has come. The old is gone. The new is here. Okay? Don't let the world tell you any differently. Okay? Don't let the world say, well, you don't act like a Christian. Well, first of all, what's a Christian supposed to act like? Okay, I'm a messed up person. Okay, I will love you as much as I can, but I am human. Okay? I was reading a post today on Facebook. There was a lady, her name was Patsy Williams. She was a fantastic lady. She passed going on 2 years ago now. She was over our Stephen ministry. She was phenomenal. She gave advice to a couple of different people. And this post that I saw says, you know what? When I couldn't love someone, God could. And what she would do, she would write their name on a piece of paper and put it in a heart-shaped box and says, God, you can love them. Guys, we're not going to be able to love everybody, and that's okay too. Okay? But don't let the world tell you that you're scum. Don't let the world tell you that you're trash. Don't let the world tell you that once an addict, always an addict. That is one of the biggest lies we're ever told. You're never going to change. You're always going to be that way. You're your father's son. You're your mom's daughter. They're an addict. You're an addict. It's not it, guys. Okay? You could break those curses if you want to. Those generational curses that are coming after your family, after your kids, after you, you can break them. I promise you. I've seen it happen. If you need help with that, we have an amazing prayer team right there. They do deliverance, they do intercessory. They're amazing. They would love to walk with you through whatever process they need to help you realize, hey, this is a barrier that needs to be broken down. Yeah? All right, the last thing, take it one day at a time. Don't look at this big picture and I need to do this, this, and this in order to go to church or in order to get clean. God, take it one day at a time. What can you do today to better yourself, to better your recovery? Because here's the thing. If you're coming in here and you're doing it for anyone else but yourself, again, it's not going to be impossible, but it's going to be hard. Okay? I will tell you, and anybody with a number of recovery will tell you, that first year of your recovery, you have to be the most selfish person you ever can be. More selfish than when you were on drugs. Okay? That's a conversation I had with my wife before we got married, and I was 3 years into my recovery, but I told her two things. You mess with my relationship with God, it's not going to work out. You mess with my recovery, it's not going to work out. These are two things that are super important to me, okay? And I tell anybody new coming into my life, hey, you mess with my recovery in any way, like, I got to cut you. I just can't have you in my life. Because I've got best friends that I've not talked to in a while, and I'm sure they're doing great. I know some of them are doing great. I just don't talk to them because, one, I'm a little worried about the toxicness that we could bring back up, right? And I'm 9 years in, guys. But I don't want to hinder them, and I especially don't want to hinder myself. I am super selfish with my recovery. I need you to do the same. Matthew 6:34 says, therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Now, that's not to say not to make plans, okay? That's not saying that. I have stuff on my calendar for tomorrow, but am I worried about anything on that calendar tomorrow? Nope, not a thing. Because I don't know what it's going to be. It could change. Perfect example, my calendar's already changed twice tomorrow. I've had 2 meetings canceled. I wasn't necessarily worried about the meetings, but I had 2 meetings canceled. Just out of the blue, randomly like, hey, we're not going to do this. I'm like, cool. I have hours now that I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Okay? But I'm not worried about it. There's always a plan and a purpose. Okay? There's a plan and a purpose why those meetings were canceled. Someone could come off the streets. I don't know. Someone could walk in. Hey, I need prayer. I need help. I need to talk. And I wouldn't have been available otherwise. But I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about right here, right now. Right? Can't worry about tomorrow, guys. This moment. What can you do in this moment? And then I want to leave you with this. Choose change. Enjoy the process. And God is always with you. God is always with you.